If you could change the way you wake up in the morning, stop saying, I got to go to work. I got to work out. I got to get this weight off of me. Change one word in that sentence and everything about your life changes. I get to wake up in the morning. I get to go to work. When you say I got to, you take all of your opportunities and all of your blessings and you wrap them up in stress by saying I got to.
Here's what I want to offer in the way of a suggestion. Now that we've feasted on the philosophical side, the theory side of the fundamentals, let me encourage you to participate in what should always follow any feast, and that is activity, exercise, and effort. In this case, the active and intense application of all that we've learned and shared together. I want to appeal to you right now to go to work. I appeal to you to review your associations with those people around you. I appeal to you to set your goals, to begin the quest for developing yourself, and to embark on a journey leading to your own financial independence by following a well-defined plan. I appeal to you to enjoy your life as you seek to improve it. I give to you my strong appeal to seek knowledge so that your value to yourself and to others might increase. And finally, I appeal to you to discipline yourself for the control and management of the precious commodity of which we are granted only a limited amount, time. Work on all these areas, but by all means work. It is always easier to think than to do. It is easier to promise than to achieve. It is easier to pretend than to produce. It is easier to plan than to act. I ask you not to do what is easy, but to do what will actually bring you the achievements you seek. Those who enjoy wealth but not happiness, those who are happy but not prosperous, as well as those who are neither happy nor wealthy, seem to ignore some or all of the fundamentals we've discussed. They are perhaps too busy, too tired, too preoccupied, too lazy, and perhaps even too rich to give attention to the basics. But don't let that be you. Go to work today on the fundamentals and commit yourself to yourself. The results will be well worth it, I promise. This is Jim Rohn giving you my final appeal. Let's do something remarkable. One more thought, and that is, strive to become the kind of person that people of quality and substance would want to be associated with. Become a person of skillful language, positive attitude, well-read and well-disciplined, a person of culture and intelligence. You will be uniquely rewarded by this reputation, drawing exciting people to you. Remember, to attract valuable people, you must be attractive. Association is truly one of the 7 fundamentals to your future wealth and happiness. It has such a major effect on how your life works out. Constantly be aware of the power of influence. Continually weigh your time and your associations and put them to better work for you. Of all the parts of our life we want to work well, perhaps the most important is lifestyle.
And he says, what do you think I'm doing? And I went, I don't know. So then he took me out and he showed me his greenhouses. And 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel.
If the guy only check himself, yeah, something wrong with me here, something wrong with me there, this guy has a hope.
You have to figure out how to set up your life in such a way that you can minimize the things. And I find people don't dislike hard work. What people dislike is being out of control.
Okay, number one, specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen. And often people won't specify their goals too because they don't like to specify conditions for failure.
This is the difference is an entrepreneur must know about money, or they're no longer entrepreneurs. And it says an employee doesn't have to know anything about money. So the government will take care of them, the company will take care of them. So I'm all confused. Said, hey, I'm here, 9 years old, teach me about money. He says, beat it, kid, But that's where the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad started.
We have to become our own data collectors, data analyzers, and then shape creators. And I think that's the toughest thing, because people who are rewriting the rules have to create the shapes, and people don't like that.
So if I know something's going to constantly be throwing challenges at me, not in like, I want to have fun, you know, I always want to enjoy what I'm doing, but something that is going to be, that's part of the fun, I think, is getting all the, you know, the challenges of it.
If you have some nascent passions, you know, some passions that are still kind of like just starting to bud, go and nurture those and just see where they take you.
Every day you're getting filled with knowledge, with mindset, with motivation, with ideas, and the people who you want to learn from. You will be a changed person. If you woke up every day and watched a video from somebody who you respect and look up to, if you did that every single day, you may not see major growth from day to day, but if you look back over a year of doing it, you will be a completely changed individual.
There are certain types of enzymes that help package the DNA and help with the DNA repair. These are the ones that are doing the ping pong game. And without those, we're screwed. We basically will age more rapidly. Conversely, what's really exciting is we've discovered that you can make them more active to make sure the DNA is packaged correctly and the repair is very efficient. And there are ways you can do that: exercise, dieting, being hungry. They allow these enzymes that control our body and make us healthier. They make those enzymes much more active. So instead of a Pac-Man doing this, you exercise, you diet, take a molecule that we work on, and it'll go around and fix everything much more efficiently and keep you younger for longer, we think. So I've been studying these enzymes, the sirtuins. We have 7 in our bodies. I've been studying them for about 25 years. And what we've learned is that they respond to the cellular environment. There's a chemical that they require for gas. Think of them as the fuel, called NAD. And there's another molecule that is like the accelerator on the enzymes that makes them go even faster. And that's one of them is called resveratrol, which we discovered years ago from red wine. And together they actually do really great things on these enzymes and make them keep the body younger, at least. For 25 years, we've been studying mostly animals and even little fungi, yeast cells. And what we've learned from those studies is that these are largely involved in responding to when organisms are under threat of survival. So how do you make the body feel like it's under threat? Adversity. So one is run a lot, or at least become out of breath. You know, a few times a week, your body will say, "Oh man, we had to outpace one of those saber-toothed cats again. Got to build up the body." The other is to be hungry, either a couple of times a week or every day. You know, skip a meal or two, and then your body will turn on these sirtuins, make more of that fuel, NAD, for the enzymes, and we think that's what's in part responsible for the health benefits of those lifestyle choices.
This is one thing I got wrong in my book, which is I said that most leaders will either experience an existential flex once, maybe twice, sometimes never in a career. I never expected that every leader would be facing it simultaneously. But the principles are still the same, whether we're all going through it together or not. Which is, it's not about the daily flexibility of business. This is profound, 180-degree strategic shift. I'll give you my favorite example. In the late 1970s, Apple's already a successful company. They've already come off the success of the Apple I, the Apple II. Steve Jobs is already a famous CEO. And understand, Apple had a just cause. They had a vision, a very clear vision, which is they wanted to empower individuals to stand up to incumbent power. They wanted to empower individuals to stand up to Big Brother, this revolutionary spirit. And if you remember, that's what they stood for, right? The computer revolution. They were one of the leaders of the computer revolution. Yep. And Jobs and a few of his senior executives, as executives do, went and visited another company, and they got a tour of Xerox PARC, which is Xerox's R&D division. And Xerox showed them something they invented called the graphic user interface, which allowed a computer user to click a mouse and move a cursor across a desktop to use icons to work the computer. Now, this is a profound technology because prior to that, you had to learn a computer language. So driven by the idea that one day an individual will be able to compete against a corporation, Jobs sees this new technology and goes back to his team and says, we have to invest in this graphic user interface thing. He sees it as a leapfrog technology to advance their vision. And one of the leaders who was there that day said, we can't. We've already invested millions of dollars and countless man hours in a completely different strategic direction. If we go down that path, we will blow up our own company. To which Jobs actually said, better we should blow it up than someone else. Well, that decision led to the Macintosh, a computer user operating system so profound that the entire software of Windows is designed to act like a Macintosh. And the reason a computer is now a household appliance was because of their willingness to make that profound strategic shift. And so the reason leaders usually don't make an existential flex is because they're too afraid of the short-term losses. They're too afraid of the disruption, even if they sometimes see it as necessary. One of my favorite examples of a failure was Blockbuster. Blockbuster was the only significant national video rental chain. They were the 800-pound gorilla. And this little company called Netflix showed up and saw the rise of the internet and the potential for streaming in the future. The technology wasn't quite there yet, but everybody knew it was coming. But they started experimenting with an entirely new business model called subscription. And if you remember, you could get the DVDs and keep them for as long as you wanted, and then send them back. And the CEO of Blockbuster at the time went to the board and said, I think we really need to experiment with subscription. And the board would not allow him because the company made 12% of their revenues from late fees. They were so afraid to give up 12% of revenues that they literally committed an act of suicide. Blockbuster doesn't exist, and Netflix is determining the future of television and movies. Now, they will say the internet put them out of business. Nonsense. They put themselves out of business. And so we're seeing that right now in COVID as well. There are companies that are desperately clinging to their old business models, but this marketplace, if you're not willing to pivot, the marketplace will put you out of business. And so we're seeing wonderful disruption happening, positive disruption, taking advantage of COVID to make changes that they see highly necessary, where they may not have made these changes prior because they were just too afraid.
You cannot grow without struggle. You cannot develop strength without resistance, without challenging yourself, without struggle. Pain is your friend. Maybe not in the moment, but for the evolution of your soul, for the long-term benefit of you as a stronger human being, pain is your friend. If you didn't have failures, if you didn't have struggles, if you didn't have disappointment, you could have no strength, no courage, no compassion. How could you? Those qualities are made from your pain and struggle. You were given pain because you are strong enough to handle it. You were given this life because you are strong enough to live it. Because you are strong enough to drive through it, to thrive through it, to inspire others through it. They will look to you and say, he did it, she did it. I have the strength to do it too. You are stronger than you think. You have survived all your challenges to this point, and you will survive whatever is coming. But next time a struggle comes, I don't want you to curse the skies. Know that it was sent for a reason and a lesson. It might be to make you stronger. It might be to teach you patience. It might be for you to show others your spirit. There is a reason. So don't give up. You have a purpose in this world, and you will only find it if you keep going and keep growing.